estate. I've been a real estate broker for 15 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about the real estate process in general. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me start off by saying nothing happens without the loan. Period. Don't even come talk to us without a loan. And if you run into a realtor or agent who will show you homes without a loan, run. Because how am I going to show you the most important property investment you're ever going to make without you even knowing money required, interest rate, down payment? And then God forbid you fall in love with it, I can't even submit an offer unless you got a lender approval. Proof of funds. Starts with the loan. And she said early on, the communication between a lender and a realtor is, I can't even tell you how important that is. Because our job is to show you the houses and make the offers. Their job is to do the loan. But we're a team. And if I don't know what type of loan you have, I can't sell it. Because certain realtors frown on certain type of loans. Down payment assistance to certain realtors means what? Long process, they don't have assets. No. We have to sell it. We need to let the listing agent understand how it works and why you're a strong buyer. Because you got to remember, in today's market, there is no negotiations for a buyer. There is lack of inventory. So if you like a house, we make the strongest offer you can make, and it is my job to sell it against all the 10 other buyers that are going to try to buy that house. So step one, always the loan. Always, 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 always. Step two, you interview with us. My job is simple. And when I say simple, let me explain what I mean by that. I don't dictate what houses are on the market. I don't dictate what you can afford. I don't dictate what you can buy. And I'm not going to tell you what you buy. You're making the mortgage payment. My job is to take what you qualify for, what your goals are, and hold you accountable. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the $300,000 in Moreno Valley. That is my job. And then when I get you there, my job is to make sure you are protected during the process, legally. You don't lose your deposit. The house isn't going to fall off its foundation and you're stuck with a house you can't live in. That is our job. But let me take a step back. I am a realtor. We're also referred to as agents. Big difference, guys. When you are ready to buy, you need to interview whatever realtor you're going to work with to make sure it is a fit. Because they're not all a fit. Let me explain the difference. I belong to the National Association of Realtors. I can legally do everything right and ethically do something wrong, and I can get in trouble and lose my license. Agents are licensed to do real estate also, but they are not part of the National Association of Realtors. Therefore, they're not held to any ethics. So, rule one, if they're not a realtor, why aren't they? Interview them. Huge, big difference. Second, when you're interviewing them, or do they do it part-time? Do they do it full-time? I'm not saying part-time realtors are bad. Please understand what I'm saying. You need to know who they are, where they're coming from, and what their level of expertise is. Because let me tell you where my value comes in. When the hits the fan. If everything goes smooth, you think I got paid to do nothing. Where my value is when the appraisal doesn't come in. There's an issue with the roof. The seller doesn't want to leave the house now. There's repairs that need to be made and the seller says, I'm not going to do them. Or we just had one where the seller made the repairs, we closed escrow, my buyer showed up to buy the house, and the seller had to move down and said, evict me, I'm not moving. Our job is to legally protect you, and that is where our expertise comes in. So you need to understand that. Showing houses, important. But I don't dictate what houses are on the market, right? So I'm only showing you what's available. My work actually starts when I get you an escrow. You got 17 days to make sure that we still want the house, do inspections, appraisal. We got 21 days to remove contingencies so you don't lose your deposit. There's a lot of legalities, and we're there to protect you. I'm the guy you need to be honest with. I'm your priest. Because I'm the guy that has to be real with you. You might want that $350,000 home, but you can't afford it, and you don't want to hear that. You might want to buy that house, but guess what? It's prettier, but it's in the worst neighborhood. I'd rather have you buy the ugly house in the nicer neighborhood. Okay. I'm the guy that's real with you. Us and the lender. The lender has all your finances, so you can't hide anything with them. They even ran your credit report. But I'm the guy you don't BS. I'm the guy that's legally responsible. I have a fiduciary obligation to protect you during the transaction. So I'm the one guy you don't want to lie. If you don't like the house, you need to let me know. If something came up at work, you gotta let me know. I'm that guy. And you guys gotta understand that. And if you don't trust me with that, then don't use me. And that's why you must interview us. That's why you have to have faith that I'm gonna look out for your best interest. One of the biggest issues we face right now is education. I represent you as a buyer. How much money do you guys pay me? How much money do you pay me to help you buy a house? Does anybody know? You know what the answer is? 0. But you wouldn't know that. You want to buy a house? Good. $2,000, write me a check, I'll take care of it. How would you know that's wrong? You don't. The seller pays all commissions. You don't pay me a penny. The only thing you're responsible for is your loan. These are the things you have to be educated here, not when you're already ready to close escrow. And our job is to set and manage expectations of what you think is going to and not going to happen. Let me be very blunt. Next to death and divorce, buying a house is going to be the most stressful time of your life. Period. It is an emotional roller coaster. You got the house, you already see your kids and your grandkids in the backyard, and I call you up and we have an issue. Now you're depressed. My job is to be even keel and tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And sometimes the best advice I can give you is walk away from the property. Let's go find another one. Even if you don't want to. Because legally, you're not going to be protected. That is our job. Showing houses, that's part of it. Making offers, just as important. Working with a lender, important. But everybody will tell you in escrow, which is when you're in a transaction to buy a home, is when everything goes wrong. Underwriters now are looking in detail at your bank statements. Where that money come from? Why? That wasn't your payroll. Why is there an $800 deposit? Well, my mom owed me money. Well, guess what? We got to account for that because you can't get a personal loan from somebody to buy a house. So they start looking at that part. Then we start looking at the condition of the house. The inspector goes out. There's a leak in the roof. Dishwasher doesn't work. Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to take care of all of that? It's all negotiation. All of it. It is our job to manage expectations, period, and make sure legally you are protected at all times. And when you close escrow and we hand you those keys, it will be one of the best days in your life. But I'm not going to lie. There will be a lot of stresses. The lenders will call you every other day about new bank statements that you thought you paid them 2 weeks ago. And it is what it is, because there was 8 pages and you only gave them 7. Because page 8, there's nothing on it. So you're like, oh, they don't need it. No, they need all the pages. So the lenders have their things over there. On the real estate side, we get what's called disclosures. The seller tells us everything about that house. Was there an insurance claim against it in the last 5 years? Did somebody die in it? What is the condition? What comes in it? What doesn't come in it? Was it painted? And why was it painted? Are you painting because you wanted to cover up a leak that the roof had that you didn't want to pay to fix? That's what we do. We look at that paperwork, we meet with you and we say, here's where the issues might be. So when you're ready to buy and you're pre-qualified, you need a realtor who's actually going to back for you, not just want to get paid. And you have to interview. Levels of years, experience, passion, they know what they're doing. And talk to them. I know you're not paying them, but they're helping you buy the most expensive investment in asset you will ever own. And that is the most important thing. So if you can't trust them, who are you going to trust? Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
All right. So education is key. The process is an education. I can tell you what it's supposed to look like, but the reality is until you get an escrow, there's no way to, it's like you got to experience it yourself. And that's okay. Our job is to manage all that for you. So, being that said, is there any questions you guys have about everything I just threw at you? Doesn't matter how small or big it is. If you guys have any questions. Oh, this is an easy, I was gonna say easy group. Yes, ma'am.
So you first started off and you said you were a realtor and then a state research. Are those two different things?
Yes, they are. We're both licensed. We can both help you buy houses. The difference is realtors, we have to abide by code of ethics. Agents do not, because they refuse to become part of the National Association of Realtors. So in my book,
Why would they refuse that?
$500 a year. They don't want to pay it. It is what it is, right? Yes, ma'am.
has nothing to do with buying, but if you're renting a house, how can you find out if somebody died in that house?
Well, on the real estate side, it must be disclosed. They must disclose that somebody died, whether it was natural, violent, whatever it may be. On a rental, honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. They also have disclosed. Yes, ma'am. She could probably get answered.
They have to disclose it if they died in the last 3 years. Anything past that, they do not have to tell anyone.
So it's actually the same as a rate of purchase. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so like I was talking to a realtor and they were saying like, okay, there's a list that you can make before you buy a house, like leaving the fridge behind or leaving the stove. What is that list called?
Well, it's a list to include or exclude. It's all
Okay.
negotiable though. The
Okay.
if something is attached to a property, affixed to a property, does not count dishwasher. I'm sorry, does not count a washer, dryer, or refrigerator. That is not part of a home. I just have to unplug those. If it is affixed to the house, they must disclose that they're going to take it. A fan. A big issue is people have these really nice fans, right? It's affixed to the house. You think it's going to you're going to get it. Then you show up way after you close this, you realize you replace it with a generic one. That's an issue. You can't do that. The seller must disclose what they are taking with them if it is affixed to the property. And if they take it, they must replace it like for like. But what a stove is included, dishwasher is included, but not a fridge, washer, dryer. No, those are not considered part of. Now it's negotiable. I can make an offer and put it on the contract that I would like that, but the seller can tell me go. Yeah.
Is that when you can hand over cash to them? Because I remember when.
Well, that's different. If
Okay.
a seller, for example, wants to sell the fridge for $300 because it's too bulky and they don't want to take it, that is, they'll come up to us and say, hey, ask your buyer if they want it, and then you guys negotiate it. That is on you because it's not part of the contract.
Okay.
Yes, and sometimes they do that because the washer and dryer will be upstairs, and they don't want to deal with bringing it downstairs and then taking it to their new home. They just rather sell it and buy new ones.
Okay.
But that is between. If it's not in the contract, it's between both parties, buyer and seller, not with us.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You said to interview the realtor or
Yes.
agent, to see if it's a good fit. What type of things should we look for?
Well, first of all, let's start with basic personality.
Yeah.
You know, if you need somebody who's got energy, I got a lot of it, and they don't. You know, second of all, experience. Do you do this full time? Do you do this part time? How many deals have you done in the last 12 months? Tell me a time that you had an escrow fallout. How did you solve it? There's about 500,000 of us in the state of California. We all know somebody who's in the business. We all do, but guess what? That's not enough. You know, I got a cousin who's an agent. Love him to death. Would never use him because he does it part time. He doesn't have a lot of experience but that's his decision. So you need to interview him, and if you hit it off, good. If you told 5 agents or realtors you were going to sell your house, all of them would show up your house like this. Now interview. People don't interview people. They just, oh, your license helped me. You got to have that connection. Somebody else had it. Yes, ma'am.
I totally forgot. Sorry.
It was a lie then.
No.
I'm just kidding. Any other questions, guys? Yes, ma'am.
What's a good amount of time to be on the job in order to buy a house?
Well, that's a lending question. I can tell you, I can tell you that it depends, but you're going to need 2 years of 2 years of tax returns. You could change jobs, but they got to be in the same industry. Like I can't be a truck driver for 2 years and then become a cook, because that just screwed me up. Because now they can't use this income for this income. So if you're in the same industry, it doesn't affect. Because guess what? We move companies, we promote, but we're in the same industry. If you change industries, that's where you get screwed, because the lender can't do that. Yes, ma'am.
You know how they have so many people on fighting for the same house?
Yes.
Is there anything you can do to make yourself more competitive for that property?
Have a good realtor.
Okay.
You know, I know this is old school, but have the realtor make a phone call. Because here's what happens. I have a house in Highland that we're gonna close this on Monday. I got 15 offers on it in 1 weekend.
You're buying or selling it?
Out selling it, yes.
Okay.
Only 3 of the realtors called me. Did you get my offer? Let me talk to you about my buyer. Let me explain what's going on. Only 3 did. 4 other ones emailed me. Did you get it? Never followed up. So it's on the realtor side. It's a matter of we put it together. I call up the agent, say, hey, I got a buyer. Here's their situation. They qualify. Here's a lender. Ask any questions. They're great. I'm sending the offer over. Did you get it? Is there any questions? What do you need? Because as a listing agent, what's my only goal? To close it. I don't want it to fall out. And why does it fall out 90% of the time? Because of the loan, the buyer. So I'm eliminating buyers based on risk. Agent hasn't even called me. And I'm supposed to communicate this with this guy during escrow. You might be a strong buyer, but if the agent isn't even calling me, I'm not going to give you an opportunity. Because when there's a problem, I know I can't even get a hold of them. Communication. Yes, ma'am.
Next question. Anybody else before I go again? Okay. You know, the next thing I keep running into is there's so many different organizations who are trying to get you to go through them.
Yes.
Is there any way I can check to see if they're good or if they're not so good?
Well,
or if
every
people
lender
prefer not to
has
work with them?
every lender has an NMLS license. You can go on and see how they're licensed. But really, what it comes down to is one is interview. But here's the other thing: if you're working with a good, I know 4 lenders. Based on your personality and what you're looking for, I know who to put you with. If you got a good realtor, they can guide you to the lender they know is going to work with you better. So if you're a first-time buyer, I'm not going to put you with this lender because they do more jumbos, which are the expensive houses. I'm going to put you with this lender. So it benefits to have a realtor who's been in the business who has those contacts, because then they can guide you. Because if I see a pre-qualification letter from a lender I've never heard of, and I call them and call them and call them to verify the loan, and they don't return my phone call, you know what I'm going to tell you? Call my guy, because I can't even get a hold of your lender.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Why do certain realtors, because we've met with 2, they always push their only lender? They don't give us options on their lender.
Okay, first of all, it is illegal. I cannot dictate to you what lender to use. 100% illegal.
Okay.
The reason we would like you to use some of our lenders, because we already have a relationship. I can call Jason up right now, or Emily, and be like, what the hell's the problem? And I can get a direct answer.
Okay.
If I work with a lender I don't have a relationship with, I can't do that. They can lie to me and I wouldn't know. So, but, let me be very clear, you use who you want. It is illegal for me to dictate that to you.
Okay.
100%.
But they should give you options on lenders if they do have options.
Well, if you ask them if they have options, I mean, like if you ask me, I'll do 4 lenders an interview and tell me who you like. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Some realtors don't have lenders. I mean, some realtors say, this is literally what they'll say. Call me when you're pre-qualified and then I'll show you houses. Yes, ma'am.
From working at Fair Housing, we get a lot of questions, and I've had someone call in and state that they were attempting to purchase a house, and they said they wouldn't see anyone unless they were qualified from their lender.
That's their, okay, that great point. That is different. I do that. It's called cross-qualifying. If you are buying a house and you have another agent, you're gonna buy my listing, I'm gonna cross-qualify you with my lender. In other words, he's gonna verify that this lender's actually doing his job.
Okay.
And if he says, hey, they're legit, they're good, you don't have to use them, but now I feel comfortable because my guy looked at the paperwork.
That's legal?
That is different. Yes, that is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine because, again, I represent the seller. My job is to get the best buyer in there. I just want to verify that you are legit. That's it. But you can still use your lender.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Where it is illegal is that then my lender says they're good, and I call you up and say, hey, you're qualified, but you don't get this house unless you use my guy. Which, by the way, happens a lot.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What company do you represent?
I work with Paco and Associates. I'm the broker owner of it. But we've been around for 15 years. We're based out of Riverside, and we pretty much do all the Inland Empire. And we're fully bilingual. With the name Paco, I gotta be kind of frank. Any other questions? Okay, I have. Yes, sir.
I was gonna, the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent, like, how would you ask
It's
them?
it's the same thing. It's just said different. A realtor is a designation. A realtor means I belong to the National Association of Realtors. A real estate agent is an agent. That means I'm licensed in the state of California to help you buy and sell. The only question you need to ask them is, are you a realtor? Are you part of the National Association of Realtors? That's the other ones, there's a lot of ways to say it. Some call themselves consultants, some call themselves sales reps, but at the end, they're realtors or they're agents. And if they're an agent, it is illegal to put the designation realtor on their business card. They can't do that. And it's very easy to look up too. You just look it up with the state and then it'll say if it is or isn't. So, any other questions?
Do you have a booth out there?
No, but I have business cards and I have things. So I will hand out business cards and we'll be around for any questions that you guys might have. And Like I said, I will tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Last question.
Like with us, we're like really specific on what we want. Like,
Yes.
as a house, are you willing to like
No.
stay with us for an entire year looking for?
Now, actually, what I said earlier was expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's perfectly fine. If the expectation is that eventually we'll find it. But if whatever your parameters are unrealistic, at that point, I will tell you, you're being unrealistic. It don't matter if 5 years come by, you're not going to buy it.
Okay.
So that's where my experience comes in based on what you want and what the reality is. And the reality can be what you're looking for is so specific. You could have 100 realtors looking for you, you're not going to find it. But that is my job to tell you and set the correct expectation. Now, whether you choose to act on it or not is yours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about time frames. It's about expectations. And if you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath for $250,000 in Riverside, good luck.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to all 4,000 realtors at the Inland Valley Association of Realtors. None of them are going to be able to help you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's not about
It's
time.
helping with
If the expectation is correct, we'll wait because sometimes that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
But if the expectations are incorrect, then it's my job to tell you you're not going to find it,
Okay.
no matter how. And guys, houses are only getting more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It just is what it is. And if you're too picky, a year from now, you're going to be the one person, why didn't I buy that house? It was uglier, but I could have fixed it up. Don't be that person with regrets, all right?
Okay.
So I will be in the back. I will hand out business cards. And if you guys have any questions, we're here to answer them. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.